Hello and welcome to PSCFIT. If you're living with PSC, navigating the unknown, or figuring out how to actually feel stronger in your body again, you're exactly where you need to be. This is where we turn confusion into clarity and where invisible illness meets visible strength. I'm your host, Thomas Fowler, PSC Fit health and fitness coach, and every week I'll show you how to move better, feel stronger, and take back control of your health with PSC. So let's get right into it. If you are coming out of a flare up or some continuous red days and you want to get back into your training, it can feel confusing, frustrating, and at times a little bit intimidating. The likelihood is you are going to be weaker, you will feel weaker, and your energy is likely to be quite low. And as you already know, energy is really kind of unpredictable to some extent when sort of living with PSC. And you might not be really sure like what your body can handle right now. And what I see what I see most people do is like one of two things. They either do absolutely nothing and no, they don't still, they stay sort of feeling stuck, and then sort of wind up feeling worse, or they just try and jump straight back into like what they were doing, or like have that comparison of what they used to be able to do, and then they end up right back at square one, potentially in another flare and having more and more red days. So, in today's episode, I just want to give you a simple way to approach training, a kind of again, um, without overthinking it and without setting yourself back. And the very first thing I would sort of say is lower the bar and sort of start lower than you think you need to. This is the biggest sort of shift. Like your your mind, your brain, like remembers what you were able to do, but your body just hasn't caught up. It's just not there just yet. And that that isn't a problem unless you ignore it. So instead of like rushing back in and really trying to like test yourself, or even like trying to see where you're at, just reshift that focus and focus on rebuilding. Now, that could look like lighter weights, shorter sessions, or even if just kind of getting back into the routine of moving again. Because right now, especially like I said, post flare up or post consecutive red days, consistently, consistently, consistency beats in I can't talk today. What I'm trying to say is consistency beats intensity. I really have had a mare trying to talk today. Um, Point number two, build your training around your energy, not your motivation. I'll do another episode on motivation because motivation in itself is, pardon my French, it's a load of shite because it goes as quick as it comes. So, yeah, train around your energy because, especially with PSC, your energy is going to fluctuate. And unfortunately, that is kind of like part and parcel of our life living with um, PSC. And you will have days that, we would deem better, and then there'll be days that we deem are not better. But this kind of would fall really well under the PSC fit traffic light system. You're going to have your red days, your amber days, and your green days. So rather than forcing yourself to like stick to a rigid plan that you may have been working on when you were, say, maybe in the green or, you know, in the amber, like orange stage, it's never going to work because you need that flexibility and you need something that will flex with you. So like on a green day, you might be able to get your full session in. You might be able to complete that whole workout. And on, an orange or a red day, you're not feeling great. Your energy is going to be low. And maybe on that day, it's just going out for a walk, or it's just a shorter workout. And both of those count. And I think this is where people can get really stuck because they think if they can't do everything, then it's not worth doing anything. But that mindset is kind of what keeps you inconsistent and constantly second guessing yourself when it comes back to trying to get back into training after a flare or consecutive red days. The third point is just prioritizing movement quality and your recovery, because right now you don't need anything complicated. You need simple and controlled strength work, walking, and just basic movement, and that is enough. And, you know, just as equally important, if not more important, is your recovery. So your sleep, your nutrition, how you're managing your stress, because that is part of your training. You know, you're not just trying to get through workouts, you're trying to rebuild your body purposely and, properly. And honestly, this is where having the right structure makes a massive difference, because everything I've just talked about is so simple in theory, but applying it to your body, your symptoms, and your energy levels is where people either move forward or they kind of get stuck. So I do have a small number of one-to-one coaching spots available at the moment. So if you are kind of at that point where you're ready to rebuild properly with a plan and structure that actually works for you, then please just get in touch. Best places on Instagram at PSCFIT, and like all the details are in the show notes as they always are. So kind of just to lock it in, and that is kind of a phrase that irks me, but it's a very popular phrase. So yeah, just kind of want to like lock it in and just readdress those points. Start lower than you think, train around your energy, and prioritize recovery just as much as your workouts. So that is a wrap for today. If this episode helped you, the best thing you can do is share it with another PSC warrior, because no one should be figuring this out alone. If you've got questions or there's something you want me to break down, message me on Instagram at PSCFIT. I read every single message. And if you haven't already, make sure you're following the podcast so you don't miss what's coming next. All resources and links are in the show notes. Until next time, stay strong, keep moving, and take control. Peace.